everybody. It's March 12th, 2012, and I'm doing something different for my blogging this time. Normally I would write my blogs out, but this is something that has been so special to me, and I've waited 4 months to do, and I thought that it would be a good way of better relaying what's been going on in my life in this 4-month journey that I've been on. And so I thought I'd put it down on a video blog today and see how well I can do. You'll have to forgive me. I do much better, I think, with writing, and I don't have a very good voice for this, but I'm so excited about it and so happy about this and so ready to share it that I really wanted to work hard on this and get it right. I have to start back at the beginning. 4 months ago, almost to the day, just slightly over that, on November 9th, my husband Don had major cervical spine surgery. He had, it was a fusing of several vertebrae, putting a cage in there. It was pretty major, and it was something that he had to wait months for. So we had months of dwelling on what was leading up to this surgery going on, and we were quite apprehensive, not just for the surgery because it was major surgery, but also for the fact of knowing that there would be a 4-month recovery period, that he would have to be home. He couldn't work. He's a truck driver, and he would not be allowed to do any tractor trailer driving whatsoever, and there would be many, many restrictions during that time. My husband's a very active guy, so for him to sit around and be taken care of rather than to be my caregiver, this was going to be a big change for us. So we went into it with a lot of worrying and a lot of talking to the Lord about it. I kept kidding to people, I don't kill him, because our personalities are one that I just feared that he would get very bored, very restless during that time. Well, the time period went by, and November 9th came, and he had a surgery, and I'm just very, very happy that everything went so well, exactly according to what the doctor had wanted to do. He had a wonderful doctor, thank you, Dr. Wolf, a wonderful Christian man who even prayed for him in the operating room before his surgery. So that was just a great relief to us, to know he was in good hands, not only in God's hands, but in the hands of a man who prayed and relied on the Lord for his gifts and his surgical team as well. Don did so well that he actually got to go home the day after his surgery. We weren't expecting that, but not only was his surgery time faster than what the doctor expected, even though there was a lot of work that needed to be done, he also had a quicker time in the hospital and home. So thus began our 4-month journey. I thought this would be a time, what I worried was that I would not used to being a caretaker. He's always taking care of me through my lupus situation, and now it was my turn. He was in a very hard cast. Eating was very difficult. Sleeping was nearly impossible. He had to be propped up with a lot of pillows, and at bedtime he wasn't sleeping well, and things that he couldn't do, and he had to sit in a certain hard-back chair. It just, from the very beginning though, the things that I thought that he would bother him, he walked through it very mildly and very calmly. He took it all. He did everything that the doctor told him to do. And so we were blessed with such a wonderful time from the very, very beginning. The surgery was great. Once he got home, his whole demeanor was good. I was so pleased about that. By the third night after that he was home from surgery, he was making dinner. And Don's always made dinner. He's the cook in the family. So he was so anxious to get back to that, and he was able to. So him waddling around in that kitchen with that hard brace on and making dinner And then trying to eat it was an experience, but he really, really enjoyed it. What I really would like to get into, as far as where the journey took a turn, was that during that time, I remember waking up one morning. Now, Don's always been an early riser. I'm always up very late at night because of difficulty sleeping. But I woke up one morning, and I remember having to go to the bathroom. It wasn't time to get up for me. And I came out, and Don was sitting there in his hardback chair, and he was reading his Bible. Now, this is something that normally I didn't see him do outside of church. It was just a surprise to me, a very pleasant surprise, and I thank the Lord for it. And it got to be something that he was doing all the time. He was, every morning, he developed this routine while I was still in bed asleep, being in time in the Word, time with the Lord, and it just, you could see the change that it made in him. I would get up in the morning, and we started with a wonderful routine. I would get my coffee, and we would sit there for sometimes 2 or 3 hours talking and talking and talking just about anything and everything. Usually what we wound up talking about is the night before I would always listen to sermons online, and there would be times where I would have questions. I wouldn't quite be grasping what the preacher was talking about, and I would say something to Don about it, and he'd say, I was just reading about this the other day, and he'd get his Bible out, and he would turn to the page that he wanted, and he would quote, he would start reading scripture to me, and it would be exactly in reference to what my question was about, and he was able to tell me, this is what I really think was going on, and we would sit and talk for hours, and he would minister to me, he would disciple me. This is something that I've been praying for a very long time, and I was shocked. Praising God, thanking God. This was so wonderful to me, and it gets better. That's all I can say is it gets better. Not only did he develop this regular time of being in the Word and being in prayer, but the whole prayer life changed. Usually I'm the one at home alone during the day, so I have my Bible time, my prayer time, but we developed that together. There were always things to pray for. People would call him or stop by and visit or send emails and cards. We were doing more at the church with the library. He helped me out with doing an inventory there and doing stuff for the website. And we always came in contact with people that needed prayer. There were always people within the church body that needed prayer. There were people that even coming to visit or calling, they had things going on in their life. They needed prayer. I've been keeping track with a missionary society, and I have a calendar, and every day of the week there would be a particular missionary to pray for. And from all over the world, India, Africa, Russia, it's just everywhere. And so we would have those to pray for. Also being part of the San Francisco City Impact, which is a Francis Chan ministry, and they would send us emails of specific needs for the Adopt a Building program and the things that they were doing. So what would happen is we would wind up with this stack of paperwork, of calendars, missionaries to pray for, ministries to pray for, our body of believers that God's placed us in, people to pray for. So every night, and in going to bed, Don would have to sit up to do prayer time. And he would do the prayer time. We would be together and we would praying and lifting these prayers together. But Don prays. He prays so well. It's this gift that he has to communicate one-on-one with God. Not one-on-one, we were together, but he could talk to God, offering him up praises and worship and glory to him, and then bringing before him the needs of others and needs that we might have. And it would be an hour long of silent prayer, and I would just listen to him. And I was so blessed because he could put into words what I would mumble around or fumble around with. And I just know God heard him. And I also know that because there would be answered prayer as well. And it was a wonderful, wonderful time. So here I have a man, my husband, reading the Bible, being able to answer questions and disciple me in areas that I would not understand. A man praying out loud, lifting people, friends, family, missionaries, and prayer at length. Not just lifting someone up. He would go on and he would talk to God about them, and he would talk to God about his children and his grandchildren and great-grandchild and siblings and parents, and he would talk to God. And I just knew God. It was like God being right there listening to his son and his daughter sitting there lifting up prayer. I could stop at that, but there's more. There's absolutely more. During all this time, not only was it a time of Don's developing this prayer time for us together, the being in the Word, being in the body of believers more, helping out and serving in the church, but also we just saw God meeting our needs at every turn. Don's pay was drastically reduced. He was basically, we had short-term disability pay, which, as you know, is a great deal less. It's only a fraction of what your regular pay is. But God met all our needs. Eventually, there was no insurance after family medical leave ran out. At every turn, God met our needs. We had wonderful stories of we would get a bill in the mail, but it would have a zero balance, and it would show that it was paid during the month. But we didn't pay it, and I would call them up, and I want to be honest, and I say, we didn't make this payment, and they would say, well, we show that there was a payment made for it. And so they would note it, and we would just thank God. We would thank God. Time after time this would happen. Going to the doctor's office, and the doctor saying, well, Don, I know you don't have insurance right now, and you're not going to get back to work. Yes, no charge. No charge for x-rays, no charge for his appointment. He didn't have to do that. But it was on his heart to help out that way. I could go example after example, but it was this whole 4 months where we, while still giving, not as much as we wanted to, but still giving what we could, God still met our needs. We never wanted for anything. We never needed for anything. And we just trusted in the Lord that even with the limited pay, the limited benefits, that everything was going to be taken care of, and everything was. And sometimes supernaturally, this would happen. So we now come to, where it's about a week before he's ready to return to work, and we spent a good deal of this past week talking a lot about what was coming up. Don was going back out into the world, the working world. He's been kind of secluded and being pulled. God pulled him back out of that time in the world to minister to him, to speak to his heart about things that needed to change, things that needed to happen, not just with Don, but with me as well. But through Don, he was able to minister to me on so many levels. And we talked about the time together, the things that we didn't want to stop. He wanted to make sure that he would continue always being in the Word every day. He wanted to make sure that we would always have our prayer time, regardless of how late or how tired he might be, that we would always do that and make that a priority, that the church family was a priority as well. the giving continued to be a priority as well. And it's been, this past week, it's just a time of looking, our marriage has been so blessed. Our marriage was good anyway. 30 years now, our marriage has always been so blessed. I didn't think it could get more blessed, but it did. God took that time of bringing Don and I together for 4 months, every day, one-on-one time with each other, where it could have been divisions and anger and getting tired of each other and driving each other crazy, and it wasn't. It was completely the opposite. And we've come out of this 4-month journey so much stronger and so blessed in so many ways. So here it is, March 12th, as I started the video off with, and this was Don's first day back at work. He's still at work, and I knew that my first blog that I would do, I thought I would write it, but it would be too long. The first blog that I would do would be a video blog, or I wanted to tell you about this journey and what it's meant for Don and I. It's been so important. It's such a joy. I'm told I normally have a melancholy nature to myself, but this has been such a joyful time, and I've wanted to share it. When I woke up this morning, and normally I'd be able to look out the bedroom window and see Don sitting there in his chair reading the Bible. I was able to look out, and I could see, and there was a chair, and it was empty, and I laid in bed, and I was doing prayer time and praise time before my foot even hits the floor, getting ready for the day and to be with my Lord. And it was sad. I was very sad. I definitely was melancholy then, and because I thought, I miss him. I'm really going to miss him. I'm going to miss getting up and getting my coffee and sitting for hours talking to this man who understands me, who loves me, who can minister to me when I need to be ministered to. And I did get up and did have a coffee, and it was just so quiet. Now, while I normally have always loved the quiet time I've had during the day, and to be able to be with the Lord during quiet time, I was very, very sad because I missed it. I missed the time alone. He has called to check in to tell me how he's doing, and he's doing very, very well. But I wanted to just tell you, I wanted to just be able to share with you that now that the 4-month journey is over, how well Don has done physically. He has done even better spiritually. I have done better mentally than I thought I would, and certainly better spiritually. I have to give God glory and praise for everything that He's done in our life. It's been a blessed time. And while I thought this was just going to be this 4-month journey for us, I think it's the beginning. I think it's the beginning of a much longer journey. And I thank God for every moment that I've had alone during this time with my husband. And I'm so absolutely blessed. And I had to share that with you. It's been so welled up in my heart and in my spirit, and such joy that this is what I thought was going to be awful, what I thought was going to be terrible, what I thought was going to be so trying, turned out to be a wonderful, wonderful experience for both of us. I want to thank everyone who kept on in their prayers, sending cards and dropping off food and paying visits, and certainly for keeping him lifted in prayer. God heard your prayers, obviously, because God had work to do, and God did a mighty work in our lives. And thank you so much. And I hope that in some way this has made a difference to you as well, because God can certainly make a difference. He can see a need. He can meet a need. But when He needs to do a work in His heart, He will find a way. If it means a surgery and a 4-month recovery time, God will do it. And God did it this time. And I thank Him for it. Thank you all. God bless you. Bye-bye.